That's the first joke. Good morning. I'm Senior Chief Allison Salzman, and I will be today's Master of Ceremonies. Warning, I was asked to make this funny and entertaining, and well, most of you know me, so it probably won't be either. In today's ceremony, we honor Master Chief Information Systems Technician Joel G. Ramirez, as he takes off his baits before they blow out, and put on his kicks. Most are aware that Master Chief spends an inordinate amount of time on StockX, sneakers, or looking at East Bay magazines for new sneakers. More eloquently put, the release from active naval service and transfer to the Fleet Reserve retired list. On behalf of Chief of Staff, Navy Recruiting Command, Captain Reyes, and Master Chief Ramirez, we welcome his many shipmates, family, friends, and colleagues as we recognize his 25 plus years of faithful and honorable service. First dad joke. Why do seagulls fly over the ocean?
Why?
Because they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels. Okay, sorry, the future retiree asked for dad jokes, and apparently today's about him, so I concede it. We extend an especially warm welcome to Master Chief Ramirez's wife, Tanya. Being the devoted cat dad he is, I'm surprised Temp isn't here as well. His dear mother, Virginia, Father Edgardo, brothers and sisters, Rosa, Edgardo, Virginia, Sevilla. I got it. Hazel, Ho, Sway, and Erica. His father and mother-in-law, Robert and Melinda, and brothers and sister-in-laws, David, Christine, Deja, Utku, Juan, Ramon, Gilbert, Lorena, and Miguel, and many of his nieces and nephews. We all know that you all are vividly aware of the sacrifices Joel has made in the service to our country, and I speak for the entire command and the Navy when I say how pleased we are to have you today. Now that we have introduced the whole city of New Orleans, will the guests please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the parading of the colors, the national anthem, and the invocation. Master Chief, Petty Officer, United States Navy, arriving. Captain, United States Navy, arriving. Side boys, post. Color guard. Parade the colors.
Color guard, attention. March on, march. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Left, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem will now be performed by IT2 Wilson Makiana.
Color guard, present, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color guard, order, arms. Right, face. Mark time, march. Forward, march.
Pastor Hazel Markland will now deliver the invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Dear God, as we gather here today to pay tribute to Master Chief Ramirez, a member of our family and the Navy family, we are seeking your blessing. We want to thank you for his 25 years of service and for his many contributions to this place, our family, the Navy, and our nation. God, we want to ask for your continual blessings in the life of Master Chief Ramirez and his wife, Tanya, as they begin a new chapter in their lives. May this ceremony be a joyful time, remembering their past successes and reconfirming their trust in your promises for guidance, wisdom, and protection for the future. Bless those that continue their service to our nation, and may they continue to hold up the traditions of their service with integrity, wisdom, and strength. In your mighty name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Will the guests please be seated? Military guests may uncover. The retirement ceremony you will witness today is steeped in tradition and dates back to the 1700s. It is the Navy's way of expressing appreciation for a job well done and a sincere official recognition of a long period of faithful and honorable service. As we give him a metaphoric wave goodbye, never forget what the ocean said to the beach. Nothing. It just waved. It is a day of great significance, marking the end of a richly rewarding way of life, living and working aboard ships in the greatest Navy in the world, and sailing the world's oceans in defense of freedom. Highlights of Master Chief Ramirez's career will be reviewed with awards and commendations cited. The ceremony will conclude when Master Chief Ramirez shipmates pay a true seaman's tribute and pipe him over the side for the final time. During today's ceremony, Master Chief Ramirez will be presented with mementos, recognizing and expressing the nation's appreciation for his 25 plus years of devoted service. The United States flag that will be presented to him holds special significance. One, I just learned before the ceremony. He received it when he re-enlisted on the Arizona. Each Navy Day begins with the ceremony of hoisting colors at 08 and ends with lowering them at dusk. Master Chief Ramirez has lived honorably under its folds day and night for his entire career. the salutes in its honor at home and abroad, its appearance at sea and in foreign ports, the careful and ceremonious way in which it is handled, all deepen its hold on heart and memory. It is a visible national symbol of the country Master Chief Ramirez has served with honor and will always remind him of the precious freedom he has defended so well. Granted, he almost did this as a CTI until he couldn't pass the Spanish portion of the Defense Language Proficiency Test. Hell, even I scored better than him. Como te llama, Allison? Un cerveza, por favor. You want me to keep going? I'm almost at a 2+ right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the former wide receiver with no marks on his helmet, number 89, USNA class of 1999, today's presiding officer, Captain Ronel Reyes, Chief of Staff, Navy Recruiting Command.
Thank you, Senior, for that wonderful introduction. What a turnout. I think this is much better turnout than most of our all-hands calls, but appreciate everyone coming out today. Alma Walker, distinguished guests, family and friends, shipmates, and recruiting warriors, good morning. We've had a few retirements here recently, and a few more on the horizon. While there are always mixed emotions watching our great leaders leave the Navy, this one is a bit harder for me to take. I'm truly honored to be here as presiding officer today as we gather for the retirement of our senior enlisted advisor, a trusted friend and a mentor, Master Chief Ramirez. I'm sure the guest speaker will have plenty to say about the kind of man Master Chief is, and I know Master Chief himself will talk about his personal experiences in the Navy. You can get through his remarks. So I want to use my brief time up here to talk about this leader's professionalism and what he has done to set the Navy up for continued success in his absence. But before I get to that, I would like to offer my warm welcome to the family members joining us here today. Master Chief's wife, Tanya, is here, along with his parents, Virginia and Edgardo. His brother, Edgardo and Josue. I would also like to welcome his parents-in-law, Melinda and Robert, and his brothers and sisters-in-law, David, Christine, Lorena, Miguel, Ramon, Deja, Luku, Gilbert, and Juan. Master Chief may be leaving the Navy, but it's totally apparent he's going home to an Army. In all seriousness, we are honored to have you all here. A career in the Navy is not possible without the support of our families. So thank you for sharing Joel with us for all these years. His sacrifice is every bit as honorable as Master Chief's service to our country. As many of you know, and for those who don't know, only 10% of the country, our population, joined the military. And of that 10%, only 10% will reach the rank of chief, with only 1% of that population reaching the rank of Master Chief. It is an incredible accomplishment, especially for a young man from Louisiana who joined the Navy as an undesignated seaman. We were lucky enough to have him as our senior enlisted leader. He led and mentored more than 400 sailors and civilians across headquarters and during some of the most unprecedented times and circumstances in our recruiting history. He was dual-hatted and was also hand-selected to be the Information Warfare, or IW, program manager. Throughout the 2-year pilot program, he improved applicant quality, reduced attrition by 10%, and ensured enlisted community manager year manning groups were filled. His team of recruiting coordinators successfully contracted 1,678 qualified IW candidates, achieving all mission objectives. The award presentation he's about to receive here in a short moment in the ceremony will detail more of his professional command achievements. But I want to take a moment to highlight what he has done for sailor development. Under his leadership, 40 sailors were promoted, 60 Sailors of the Year, 12 were Sailors of the Quarter, and every sailor in his charge was given clear and intentional feedback on what they needed to do in order to improve performance and ensure a successful career in the Navy. While chiefs are responsible for training our sailors, it is our master chiefs who are responsible for training and mentoring our chiefs. He has an unmatched standard, an attention to detail that serves himself, the command, and his sailors extremely well. The work he did during this tour and throughout his career has set his sailors and his Navy up for continued success. Joel Ramirez is no doubt the best of the best, and it has been an absolute honor and pleasure serving alongside him. While he will be missed, the best compliment to good leadership is the ability to step out of the position and have business continue as usual. And I know Master Chief has set us up for that seamless transition. Joel, thank you for all you've done for the recruiting nation and for this world's greatest Navy. My friend, I wish you fair winds following the season. Thank you.
So now that they've sat down, Master Chief Ramirez, front and center. Military members, attention to award. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Meritorious Service Medal to Master Chief Information Systems Technician, Surface Warfare, Information Warfare, Joel Ramirez, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following citation. For outstanding meritorious service as Senior Enlisted Leader and Information Warfare Manager, Navy Recruiting Command, Millington, Tennessee, from January 2020 to November 2022. Master Chief Ramirez's inspirational leadership and unparalleled dedication as a Senior Enlisted Leader for more than 400 military and civilian personnel was pivotal to Navy Recruiting Headquarters' success during one of the most trying times in recruiting history, marked by a global pandemic and social unrest. He fostered a winning atmosphere that contributed to a 5.2% increase in defense organizational climate survey factors and set conditions for 100% career development boards, 96% retention in all zones, 6 meritorious advancements, 3 officer conversions, 34 promotions to the next pay grade, and 3 Navy classification conversions. His extraordinary leadership and unwaverable commitment to mission were instrumental in his selection by Navy Information Forces to implement the Information Warfare Recruitment Pilot Program. Master Chief Ramirez successfully promoted recruiting balance for 7 information warfare ratings, improved applicant quality, reduced attrition by 10%, ensured enlisted community manager year manning groups were fulfilled, and ultimately fostered information warfare ratings to meet fiscal year 20 and 22 goals. Additionally, he represented Navy recruiting at the Cryptologic Technician Interpretive and Collection Rating Strategy Council and Deep Dive with OPNEV N13 and Commander 10th Fleet in an effort to provide 3 critical Navy Recruiting Command enlisted manual updates. Master Chief Ramirez's superior performance of his duties highlights the culmination of 25 years of honorable and dedicated service. Master Chief Ramirez's exceptional professionalism, personal initiative, and loyal devotion to duty reflected great credit upon him and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. For the President, Admiral Walker, United States Navy. Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Master Chief Petty Officer Joel Ramirez, I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect our fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your dedication to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of the selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Chief Ramirez also received letters from Presidents Barack Obama, Donald Trump, George W. Bush, William Clinton, and Jimmy Carter, as well as the Governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, Governor of Missouri, Mike Parson, and Governor of Louisiana, John Bell Edwards. Captain Reyes will now present Master Chief Ramirez with the retirement certificate. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. Greetings. This is to certify that Master Chief Petty Officer Joel Ramirez, having served faithfully and honorably, was transferred to active duty to the Fleet Reserve of the United States Navy on the 31st day of January, 2023. Signed, R.C. Reyes, Captain, United States Navy, Chief of Staff, Navy Recruiting Command. Will Tanya, Mr. and Mrs. Ramirez, Mr. and Mrs. Hunger, Joel's brothers and sisters, and his brothers and sisters-in-laws, please join Captain Reyes and Master Chief Ramirez up front. All other guests may be seated. All 21 of you.
Take pictures of us.
Tanya, you're first. Recognizing that Master Chief Ramirez could not have achieved his many accomplishments alone, Captain Reyes will present letters of appreciation from the United States Navy to his wife, father, mother, brothers, sisters, father and mother-in-law, and brothers and sisters-in-law for their support during his 25 years of naval service. No, he wants a picture with you guys holding it. Just give it to him.
So Tanya, in the middle, and everybody goes behind her. Thank you. You guys all go that way. That way we can get a nice picture.
Who's leading this gaggle?
Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Tanya Nicole Ramirez has earned grateful appreciation for her unselfish, faithful, and devoted service during her husband's naval career. Her unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible her husband's lasting contribution to our nation. Given this 4th day of November, 2022, signed R.C. Reyes, Captain, United States Navy, Chief of Staff, Navy Recruiting Command.
Almost done.
I got a joke. So in the best interest of everyone's schedule, I will not read the other certificates as they read similar to Tanya's. Hers is just one of the most important ones.
Alright, so we got to face somewhere.
You're good. You get in the middle.
I'll there you go. Just Alright, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3.
Master Chief Ramirez will now present flowers to his mother, mother-in-law, sisters, and sister-in-laws as tokens of his appreciation for their love and support during his career.
My speech is going to be shorter than this, don't worry.
One more round of applause, please. Chief Sarah Patton will now honor Master Chief Ramirez's love of his life, Miss Tanya, by reading the Navy Wife.
The Navy Wife. When the good Lord was creating Navy wives, he was into his 6th day of overtime. An angel appeared and said, "You're having a lot of trouble on this one. What's wrong with the standard model?" The Lord replied, "Have you seen the specifications? She has to be completely independent, possess the qualities of both mother and father during deployment, be a perfect hostess to 4 or 40 with less than an hour's notice, handle every emergency imaginable without a manual, be able to carry on cheerfully through illness, birthdays, and events without dad, move around the country and even the world 14 times in 30 years, have a kiss that cures anything from a child's torn Valentine to a sailor's weary day, have the patience of a saint when waiting for the boat to return from sea, and have 6 pairs of soft hands." The angel shook her head slowly and said, "6 pairs of hands, no way." And the Lord answered, "Don't worry, we'll make other Navy wives to support her. Besides, it's not the hands that are causing the problem, it's the heart. It must swell with pride, sustain the ache of separation, beat soundly when it's overworked and too tired to do so. Be large enough to say, 'I understand,' when it doesn't, and say, 'I love you,' regardless." "Lord," said the angel, touching his sleeve gently, "go to bed. You can finish that tomorrow." "I can't," said the Lord. "I'm so close to creating something unique. Already I have one that can heal herself when sick, feed unexpected guests when stuck in the area due to weather, and wave goodbye to her husband from afar and understand it's important to the country that he leaves." The angel circled the model of the Navy wife very slowly. "She's too soft," she sighed. "She may look soft, but she is tough," the Lord said excitedly. "You cannot imagine what this being can do or endure." "Can she think?" the angel asked. "Can she think? She can convert 1400 to 2 p.m. the Lord said. Finally, the angel bent over and ran her fingers across the cheek. "There's a leak," she pronounced. "I told you they were trying to put too much into this model." "It's not a leak," said the Lord. "It's a tear." "What is it for?" asked the angel. "It's for joy, sadness, pain, loneliness, pride, and dedication to all the values she and her husband hold dear," the Lord said. "You're a genius," said the angel. The Lord looked somber and said, "I didn't put it there."
Tanya, for all of the years of putting up with the craziness.
No crap.
I'm trying to be PG. There are children. Senior Chief Retired, Kufri, Grill Master, but no creds, Usanga, report to the podium.
How's everybody doing? So I've always wanted to come to Millington. You know, I served for 22 years, and I never could come down here. You know, I want to see the buildings, the people that never picked me for Master Chief. So I finally got here. I'm like, oh, this is where it is. So glad to be here. You know. Good morning, Admiral, Captain, CMC, Chief Smith, Powell's family, and friends, and shipmates. What a great day to gather here to celebrate an amazing career, which is a quarter of a century long. That's a long time. A lot of you were not even born yet when Powell decided to join the United States Navy. So we're here to honor him for his honorable service, his commitment, and loyalty to our nation and our neighbors. So retirement ceremonies are not really for the servicemen, because Powell has attended a lot of retirement ceremonies. It's for you, the family. So you can see what we already know about Powell, how amazing he is, and all the great stuff he's done for us, how he's protected us, and have made our Navy better. So Powell and Tanya have known Venus and I for more than 17 years. So I called him up when it was time for me to retire. I said, hey, you're gonna be my guest speaker. So he was like, that's it? I said, yeah. What do you want me to do, write a check? They said, okay, but I'm in Japan. I'm like, I know. And mind you, my retirement ceremony is in Norfolk. And, you know, that's the thing in the Navy circles where a lot of people don't want to go to Norfolk. If you've been there once, you never want to go back. So somehow we had to come from Japan, go get Tanya from St. Louis, and make it over to Norfolk for my ceremony. It's like, okay, make it happen, Master. You know, by the way, it was kind of hard. I've gotten used to it. We call him Master Chief. You know, we got to Japan as first classes, and I have to make Chief first. And he refused to call me Chief. So I'm like, okay. You know, no matter what I did, he didn't call me Chief. I'm like, okay. And then he made Chief the very next year. So now it was cool to, you know. Yeah. So Taya made the long journey. They come down to Norfolk and they honored me. So when he asked me to read his guest speaker, well, he didn't ask me, he just told me, hey, get your speech credit. I'm like, oh, this is payback, right? Right. So I thought to myself, oh man, what am I going to say? I have so much to say, and it's just hard to put it all in one speech. You know, I've known him for what seems like a lifetime, right? He's like family to me now. So, you know, so I said, okay, the best thing to do is to give the exact same speech that he gave at my except it's not going to be 2 hours long. Because he had this Navy radio and poem that it was long, and I'm like, man, he's losing people. But it was good. It was good. It was good. So, Powell started from the bottom. He won. Seaman recruits from Massachusetts. That is amazing. You know, if you're in the Navy or you've been around Navy, that is hard to do. So if you can please get on your feet and give Howell a round of applause. Right now. Thank you, everybody. So thank you. Thank you to the family. Thank you to the friends. Tanya. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to make y'all get back up again. Because Tanya needs her own family. Thank you for that. It is hard to understand what it's like, what it feels like to constantly say goodbye to your shipmate, to your family, to your sailor, your loved one, year after year after year. Sometimes without knowing when they're going to come back. And this happens a lot in Japan. You can get on a ship, you know, with like the 911 fleet, get on the ship and you go. You don't know when you're coming back. Tanya did it so many times. She did it for 25 years. That is amazing. It's longer than, like I said, most of you have been alive. So thank you for your service, Tanya. Thank you for your unwavering support, for your sailor, your husband, to Howell's parents, his brothers and sisters, nephews, nieces, uncles, to the whole village that read so well. Thank you for sharing him with us. Thank you for sharing him with the Navy and the United States. So, one day in Naval Station, Iceland. And I was stationed in Iceland at the PSD. I was the independent duty IT. I had wanted to get out, and the detail persuaded me to go to Iceland, and for 18 months, and he promised me that I'm not going to regret it. And he was right. I hate to say that details are right, but he was right this one time. So I was the independent duty IT, the only IT in PSD, helped them with their program, DMO, and all that stuff. And Howell walked in. IT1, I was an IT1. At that point, I had not seen another IT1 on base. So he walked in, and I overheard somebody say, "Hey, IT1, let me go ask IT1 and see." So I went out there and was like, "Hey, man, you're an IT?" He said, "Yeah, IT1." So once I found out that he's an IT1, he was stationed at NCTS, Keflavik. So it was an instant bond. So we just started talking about the same experiences and how we got to Iceland, and then we found out we're next door neighbors. We got home and like, what do you mean? You live right there? So needless to say that we, our wives met, and it was all barbecues and drinks, like water. I mentioned barbecue. They introduced me as a grill master. I tell everybody the grill master, but they want to see a certificate or something. I don't have it. It's just unwritten, but it's there. So we, it was snowing, whether it was snowing, whether it was sleeting, whatever it was, we were barbecuing. You go to see your barbecue grill and you have snow piled up. Smelt that thing down and use that grill. So it was amazing. So today we said thank you, for your service to this nation. Thank you for leading our sailors. Thank you for mentoring them, teaching them, especially future IT as an instructor, the ITA student and beyond. Those who know who we know that I've never seen him get mad. I said, anybody? Well, he keeps it hidden pretty much, right? But he doesn't yell. I've never seen him swing. Any sailors? Sailors? Anyone? You're not here. I have never seen him scream, but somehow he gets things done. He accomplishes the mission, you know. We work closely, we were not in the same command, but we work closely in Japan, same battle group, his ship, he got stuff. Okay. 25 years. He trained, led, mentored sailors, completed multiple deployments, forward deployed in Japan, you know, the tip of the spear. And they don't say that for nothing. If you've been there, you know. Okay. Served in Djibouti, Africa. Just take a look at his bio. I'm not going to go through everything here. So I don't want, you know, I don't know how much time I have. Have one look at them.
It's your day, bro.
Tanya's there. Let's get that.
So who became Master Chief ultimately because of the sailors he led, and what those sailors were able to accomplish. I have a lot of stories I can tell, but I don't want my speech to turn into his speech. I really want to give a speech, but it was just too long, so I wasn't going to do that to you guys. Yeah. So I remember when the base was getting closed down, you know, base realignment, and I remember then the late Donald Rumsfeld was the Secretary of Defense. He said, "You guys do amazing work here, but you know, I gotta shut it down." So we had to get the base closed and everything. So the details came out. Go to get details. So we walked there, me and him, we went there the same day with our wives, trying to figure out what the next duty station was going to be. It was cut short. We were only there for like 12 months, and then about 18 months they shut it down, right? So well goes, I went first, saw my detail, cut me orders of FFG 51, the USS Gary. I came out, I didn't tell him yet. He said, "Did you get orders?" I'm like, "Yep." "Are you gonna tell him?" "No." So he goes in, he gets his orders, he came back out. So I said, "So what happened?" He said, "I got orders." "To where?" "The ship." "To where?" "Japan." I'm like, "What? I got orders to ship in Japan." So we, you know, the friendship continues. Now we're going to Japan. We actually flew on the same flight to Japan. We arrived the same day in Japan. He goes to the ship, I go to my ship, and within a week we were both deployed. You know, left our wives alone, just almost get everything set up and everything. So we have a cat named Temp. Temp is still here, you know? So Temp was with the family, and so I asked him, "So what are you going to do with Temp?" Because, you know, Temp. So what are you going to do with Temp? So, Temp is coming to Japan. I'm like, "How? We got like a couple weeks." He said, "Well, Temp is coming." So, so we let, you know, leave it to Tanya. Tanya made it happen. Temp had tickets and everything. Temp was going to Japan. So if you want to get something done, just leave it to Tanya. You know, Tanya will make it happen, I promise you. She is amazing. Okay, another quick story, and I promise you that's the last one. So we decided to take a trip around the island. It's just the four of us. So, okay, you know, before we leave Iceland, let's take a trip around that island. It was snowy, you know, windy, wet, narrow roads. So, well, was the driver? We're going to some remote cabin somewhere. You know, nothing could go wrong, right? Icy, snowy, low visibility. We're driving in this narrow road with ice sliding, but we're going to this cabin that Tanya set up, right? So we went through the tunnel. There was a tunnel, like in the middle of nowhere, there was a tunnel. We went through this tunnel and we see this flash. So we all asked each other, "Do you think that was a camera?" I'm like, "I don't know. There's no car. Why would they put, there's no traffic? Why would they put a camera in the tunnel, in the middle of nowhere?" So we didn't know. We just said, well, we'll find out. Well, so guess what? A few weeks later, Joel calls me and said, "Hey, man." Well, I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, it was a camera." So He said, let me show you. So we went over there, right next door, and showed me a picture of the four of us looking like I'm like, man, we can't even argue this. So, when you get a ticket, they don't send it to you, they send it to the best security. So your boss finds out before what you do. So we had to go explain. It's like, man, the ticket is expensive. It's Iceland. Everything's expensive. So I don't know what it was. I mean, $1,000. So we had to come up and pay for it. So it was a very expensive ticket. But that's that. Every time I go to a tunnel, I think about that incident right there. So I'm going to wrap it up here. So you see the several duty stations that Howell served. He took tough duties. Spec war, forward deployed, instructor duty, a ship in San Diego that went on a couple of deployments. Japan, even though this one time it wasn't a flagship, that we nicknamed Building 19 in Japan. That's the Blue Ridge. It's just a nickname. But the point is this: Howell did not shy away from tough duties. He served with honor, courage, and commitment. He served his country. He protected you and me. So Howell, my brother, my family, my friend, Tanya, thank you for your service. The United States Navy got better. This nation is safer because of your outstanding service. I am going to use a quote that I'm sure nobody has ever heard before. But it was by a man named John F. Kennedy. So, it's funny, I got a little goodie bag when I checked into my hotel yesterday, and I got a point. I've already written this speech like months ago because he told me what I was going to do. I took orders, the master. After this, I was on the stage. So there was a point in there, a command point, and it has this quote, but this quote was already written in my speech. So it just ties everything up, right? So John F. Kennedy said, any man, who may be asked in this century what he or she did to make his life worthwhile can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I serve in the United States Navy. Oh, well, you can do that every day, all day. Now that we are retired, this is a good life, I promise you. Some things that you're going to forget that you don't have to do, like responding to NFAS. Make sure to take your name out of the list, or monster report being submitted, or, oh my God, in September, Chief's eval. It's going to be there. And apparently you are golfing now. I don't know, I heard, but I don't see it. I see you watching golf. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the honor of speaking today. I love you, man. Love you, Tanya. Love your family. Love everybody. Thank you very much. Navy Chief! Navy Pride! Navy Chief! Navy Pride! Navy Chief! Navy Pride! Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senior Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at that moment we have all been waiting for. The man of the hour finally speaks. But before he does step to the podium, I would like to mention our Navy core values and how Master Chief Ramirez has lived up to them. Honor. What's more honorable than service to your country? Commitment. His unwavering, loyal, and dedicated service to his family, to his Navy, and to his sailors. And courage. I mean, the man did fight during World War II, so that's gotta take some freaking courage, right? It is now... Hey, stop, that's in 2 weeks. It is now my highest honor and sincere pleasure to introduce today's guest of honor, my friend, mentor, and brother, Master Chief Joel Ramirez.
Hey, Bert, where are you at? You should have filled this up, because I need it right now. I woke up this morning and I was like, man, it feels like I went through initiation all over again. Couldn't sleep last night. I'm like, oh boy, amazing. So I was talking to my mom and I was like, trying to explain to her the ceremony itself, right? She's been to my, when I made chief, she was there. I made senior chief, she wasn't there. But when I made master chief, I was in San Diego, they weren't there, right? So I was trying to explain to her, she's like, oh, so the ceremony, and I was trying to say, yeah, it's just gonna be me. She's like, what do you mean, just you? Because she's used to seeing all of us being pinned together. So she was like, I was like, no, it's just me. She goes, well, why just you? I was like, so I had to go through this whole rigmarole and try to explain exactly for the whole thing. So I was trying to explain what the ceremony was gonna be like. So first thing that popped into my head was like 4th of July, because you know, you're independence, you're proud to be American, that type of thing. She's like, oh, so there's gonna be barbecue? Barbecue. So there's gonna be fireworks? I'm like, no. No fireworks. But that was pretty funny. I would like to thank Admiral Walker. Thank you for being here. Senior Solomon said she didn't have to be here. I'm not sure that was. Rick? Captain Reyes? For being my presiding officer. Kufre, for being my guest speaker. Did we ever figure out who my sponsor was? Oh, hey, Allison. My sister Hazel for speaking to God on my behalf, because I surely will lead her today. Thank you. All the participants who have you seen up to this point and throughout the conclusion of the ceremony, thank you. Thank you to my friends who traveled from throughout the U.S., Hawaii, Japan, literally next door to my house. Over there, right? And my parents, uncle, aunt, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, father, mother-in-law, brothers and sisters-in-law, and my beautiful wife, Tanya. Family, friends, co-workers, and shipmates attempted to recreate 25 years in just a few minutes or pages was not only stressful, but at the same time rewarding, because along those memories, Tanya and I have met some incredible people that we had the privilege to work with and ultimately calling friends, family. Before I continue, it will be impossible for me to thank everyone. But if you're here today, I want to say thank you for being part of both Tanya and my life. When I entered the Navy, I wasn't quite sure how everything would unfold. But the thing I remember the most is how Tanya reacted when I told her I joined the Navy. Not a good day. Not a good day. That was an interesting day. But just like any other future sailor would do, I blame my recruiter. Yep, sure did. And now after working at Navy recruiting, I was telling myself, wow, you mean to tell me you had more options than just undesignated seamen? So, Admiral, I submitted for a congressional. And I expect an all-hands email to explain why my recruiter could have done better. Just saying. Some of you may or may not know, but I joined as undesignated seaman. When I reported to my first ship, USS Merrimack, A-179, it was the Navy's last owned fleet oiler. There wasn't a chief in deck department, but I had 2 first classes that ran a tight division. I mean, seriously tight. I met 1 second class, Petty Officer Beachy was his name, who I remember, and he wore his dungarees extremely sharp, but I noticed his 3rd chevron was lined out and said void on there. And I know some of you still remember what that meant. I was on board almost a year when we were told she will be decommissioning in a few months after our return from deployment. So those 5 months underway, I learned my job and grateful for the opportunity to qualify a helmsman and steer the ship, FSA'd in the CPO mess, where at the time, chiefs had a tip jar for the FSAs. A lot of you don't know that, right? And finally understood the meaning of sliders. Boy, we went through some serious. Atlantic Ocean is incredibly strong. And my second class took me under his wings and guided me to an extremely successful tour. A month before the decommissioning, our boatswain, Lieutenant Poyer, was the biggest Samoan lieutenant officer I've ever seen in my life. He called me into his office and handed me orders to attend Radioman A School and said, Seaman Ramirez, don't let me down and you will do great things in the Navy. During that tour, Tanya and I had a falling out. Plus, this was before cell phones, emails, Instagram, Facebook, and any other social media platform that you can think of. And all my only choices that I had was to write a letter or call by phone. There was a 3-day weekend around Thanksgiving, I think, and we were told everyone could leave after cleaning stations, so that's exactly what I did. I drove from Norfolk to New Orleans using a AAA map, and not this fancy GPS we have these days, and arrived close to midnight that Friday night in hopes that Tiny would be home. Thank God she was, and as you can see, we are still in it together. There are many stories like this for each command, but I will not save us from the 50 pages of notes and just go over a few things that I learned throughout my career. Determination and how overcoming diversity was key. When I reported to the USS Yorktown and as a newly radioman, I met my first chief, and he was a data processing chief. But it was funny because he was being converted to a radioman as well, and neither one of us knew anything about being a radioman. Aside from what I learned in A school, but that didn't matter since he and the rest of us in the comm shack were later converted to IT. A few things come to mind while on board the Yorktown. USS Cole being bombed while refueling in Yemen, and seeing her being towed into the Pascagoula shipyard for repairs, and many of us standing watch on board while the crew regrouped. And not even 11 months later, 9/11 attack occurred. And we immediately sortied that same day to patrol the Gulf of Mexico with little communication with any of our families, as we were equally scared, just like many Americans. But we had the duty to fulfill by protecting our way of life and freedom. In the end, my tour on board was great, met some wonderful friends, and gained knowledge that would later help me succeed. I wasn't going to tell a story, but why not? We had a family day cruise one summer, and I was FSAing again. MS2 at the time, and I went to the galley to pick up a few items since we were doing a Steel Beach picnic. And we overheard some people talking on the mess decks, and it was the CEO's wife and her guest, and I remember her saying, "This is where the common folks work and eat, and they don't have college degrees." Yes. As I was trying to process this information, I started walking that direction to say something, and MS2 immediately grabbed me and walked out. I asked him, "You're not upset?" He goes, "You're damn right I am." I'm like, "So how come we're not doing anything about it?" And he gave me the best advice in my early stages of my career. He said, "Choose your battles wisely, and remember, you cannot converse where ignorance is present." Woo! That's a real deal right there. So I added that method to my tool bag for many future uses. When I got stationed at Special 1422, I got a call from my detailer when I was going to NCTS Iceland. And I was like, "Isn't that where Santa Claus keeps his reindeers?" Well, that tour was great. And the island is beautiful. Two great things came out of that tour: Kufre and Venus, who instantly became friends with. All four of us cried together through some tough times. We really did. Celebrated when Alicia and Matthew came into your lives. And now, we can forget, and how can we forget our trip to Paris? That was an interesting trip. We have been inseparable for the past 17 years, and to both of you, along with Alicia and Matthew, will always have a special place, both Tanya in my heart. When I was pinned to chief, along with my buddy Mark, Lieutenant Witherspoon, sorry. After going through CPO initiation at Court Station in Pensacola, I kept telling myself, when a junior sailor or a chief or an officer asks me a question, man, I don't hope I don't screw that up. During this time, I was an instructor at ITA school. Things were going well, and after several months had passed, each scenario imaginable came to fruition. Within a 2 months' time, one of my instructors was in a marriage crisis. 2 of my students were assaulted out in town. Another student attempted to take their own life. Unfortunately, one of the students succumbed to their depression and took their own life. One student was violently killed while jogging. While jogging outside the perimeter of the base, and another student stopped by my office visibly upset, and he and his boyfriend ended their relationship, and this was before the don't ask, don't tell was revealed. And right when I thought things were calming down, one of my students asked to speak with me after class and mentioned she was driving home for the weekend to speak with her mother about her boyfriend who she'd been dating for some time. And I was like, that's great. What's the issue? She said, my boyfriend's black. And my mother will never understand. I didn't tell her what to do. We discussed it for some time and I provided 2 simple solutions. And after some thought, throughout the day, she ultimately decided to tell her mother. The following week, I was preparing some material for class, and I hear a knock on the door, and it's her. I asked, hey, how was your trip? Did you talk to your mother? She goes, and she didn't say anything. She just walked in, handed me a piece of paper that was folded in half, so I opened it, and before I could read it, she said, my mother never wants to see me again. We both kind of looked at each other and shared this silence that felt like an eternity, because it truly felt that way. And what was that piece of paper she handed me? Her inheritance when her father had passed. Her mother had wrote her a $600,000 check, and now was asking me what to do. While at Court Station, I deployed for an 11-month IA to Djibouti, and upon my return from deployment, our plane stopped in Norfolk for out processing. I went to the NEX, and who do you think I ran into? That's right, that sailor. And I remember her telling me, thank you. Man, she was doing great. You never know. Of course, it wasn't all somber. I had CDO one night on the base, and the base lost power. Good thing that never happened to Millington. Captain Mossberger's like, yeah, baby. Good thing that just so happened it was Halloween, and all the students decided to wear their costumes outside their barracks building and somehow convinced me to stage a costume contest. Let's just say it was hysterical, and I think it gave them a sense of normalcy for that moment. I got called to the quarterdeck soon after, and when I arrived, the local police did a courtesy turnover for one of the students who had indulged a lot of it. It was a CTT student, and I was like, yes, it's not an IT. I walked up to the counter, just like this, there was a counter, and this student was obviously well intoxicated, and his roommate so happened to be on watch on the quarterdeck as well. He was acting a little obnoxious, and I was like, hey, just calm down, take a seat, and do you know where you are? He looked at me and said, no, petty officer. And his roommate told him, no, that is Chief Ramirez. You see, I was standing behind the counter, and all he could see was my khaki blouse. He proceeded to challenge me that I wasn't a chief, so I let him talk, since he was calming down. Finally, he told me, if you are a chief, let me see your pants. Because he listed to have black pants. So I had khaki pants. So I walked from behind the counter, went like this, and he immediately stood at attention. I said, sorry, Chief. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. And everybody's looking at me on the quarterdeck like, what are we going to do? I was like, I'll let him sleep it off. He'll be fine. Nick Casey, where are you? You, Frank Carollo, Willie Ard, Ken Paluch, Steve Gordon, Shane Leggett, Jim Bob Carrier, Rich Hatton, thank you for believing in me and being that foundation of wisdom. Dave, I'm not sure why you gave me your senior chief anchors at the time, since there were so many other ITs to choose from. But I would like to think you saw something with unlimited determination, or that you just forgot to give it to someone else. Let's talk about some humility. I checked on board USS New Orleans, and mind you, I left my last ship as a first class and went to shore duty as an instructor, and now returning to sea as a senior chief. Big deal as fleet chiefs. Initially, I was assigned as a communications LCPO, and within 6 or 8 months, the LCPO for combat systems fell ill, and I was transferred, leaving me next in line. My department head called me into his stateroom and told me, "Senior, the job is yours," and I remember him saying, "Trust is very hard to come by." A few months passed, and I was falling short on 1 or 2 taskers, and that's not good on the ship. And he let me have it. He let me have it. To the point where he relieved me from my duties and appointed another senior chief. I was devastated, completely devastated, because up to that point, I never experienced any type of failure. I remember going home and telling Tanya, and next thing you know, it felt like our apartment had turned into a boxing ring that Tanya turned into Mickey and I into Rocky Balboa. And she said, "What now? What are you going to do?" And just like the famous words of Mickey, you're going to eat lightning and you're going to crap thunder. The following day, I scheduled individual appointments with each DLCPO, Traino, 3M coordinator, admin, supply, to get my bearings straight. 2 or 3 months had passed, and my department head called me back into the stateroom and said, "Senior, I'm not sure what you've been doing, but this department has taken huge strides, and Senior tells me you have been helping her immensely. I spoke with Senior this morning and told her you were taking over again as DLCPO. She was beyond ecstatic because she never wanted to do this job anyway." And she laughed. We had a great working relationship after that day. Hands down, we had the best department aside from engineering. The day before I transferred, Commander, because he was promoted to commander, and I was promoted to Master Chief. He says, "I'm glad I ran into you, Master Chief. I just wanted to say you have been the best chief I've worked with, and never seen someone take care of sailors like you." I keep thinking about the word he originally used. Have you all asked yourself recently, is the team that I'm part of trust me, or do I trust now? Working at Navy recruiting is a tough business, but I never met a group of civilians and officers who embody professionalism and dedication. To the junior sailors, always rise to the occasion, maintain an appetite for success, and harness the opportunity to prove others wrong when they didn't believe in you. Rick, Misty, Roy, I may not wear the Command Master Chief badge, but all three treated me like an equal and always provided me sage advice when I needed it the most. Chiefs, my brothers and sisters at NRC, thank you for supporting me and giving me the opportunity to lead us through some of the trying times and having the confidence in me to always do the right thing. To all the chiefs present here, it's been a privilege being part of the Navy's finest Chief Petty Officer mess, and my final charge for you is this: sailors are your priority. And when they fight and when they fail, so have you. Hold everyone accountable, including yourself. Never pass the buck when things go wrong. Setting the example isn't a part-time job. Never give up on your division officer. Never waver from the truth. And if you've lost your way, don't be afraid to ask for help. And finally, earn your damn anchors every day. To my mom and dad, I owe you a ton of gratitude. The reason I am successful today is because of the tremendous work ethic that both of you displayed and encouragement to dream big. Your many sacrifices provided all your children to achieve the impossible, and I cannot say enough thank you for being the beacon of hope and the pillar of my life. Let's get them much. There comes a time in everyone's life. I need a swig of water for this. There comes a time in everyone's life when they meet their true love or soulmate, and I was fortunate enough to meet my best friend 26 years ago. Tanya, thank you for having such a beautiful, intelligent, kind, and caring spirit, which is why I love you very much. But when you're not so kind, that's when you choose. I remember one of our first dates, and after dinner we ended up walking by the levee, talking and laughing, and you hit my stomach jokingly.
Oh, yeah.
But what we didn't expect is for me to pass gas when you hit my stomach. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I was like, that's it, she's not calling me back. There's no way. But we took this leap to the unknown together many years ago, unsure what the Navy would have in store for us. But without a shadow of a doubt, I could not have asked God for anyone other than you. Because you've been my Bonnie to my Clyde, Sandy to my Danny, Amy to my Sheldon, Wilma to my Fred, and my Oliver to my Papa. Thank you for putting up with my crap, loving and caring for me, listening when I needed it the most, taking care of our home and our pets while I deployed, and giving it to me straight when I needed to hear it. I wish there was an opportunity for redo because there are several ways, several as you know. Heartache or broken heart is never a quick mend. How do you even begin to say thank you to someone who sacrificed so much, leaving her family and friends behind, changing careers multiple times, and ultimately placing complete blind faith in me for our future? Tanya, I cannot imagine surviving all the hardships of my life without your pure love and undying support. Keep holding my hand tightly like this forever. I love you. Like we say in New Orleans, lay bon temps roulé. Let the good times roll. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Chief. So PS1 Win was the only one that bet he would get through that speech, so she has acquired now $4,072. Grab it before you check out. All right. Master Chief Bert Ellen, will you please join me on stage? Master Chief Ramirez, can you stand up, please? You don't need your cover.
You don't need to.
On behalf of all the Master Chiefs, Senior Chiefs, and Chiefs, and Naval Recruiting Command, we present to you this canter. You can pour those 4 little bottles in there later.
I'm sorry.
Back to the official business. Flag detail. Post.
Hi, Chief. Flag detail. Attention. Cover. 2. Side step, march. Forward, march.
Master Chief Bert Allen will now read Old Glory.
March time, march. Halt. About, face.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, and I am arrogant, and I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, and my colors are a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. And I am loved, and I am feared. I fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and scores of places long forgotten by all except by those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them, and they loved me. I was on a small hill in Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my sailors and my Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on streets of my own country, and when it's by those whom I have served with in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I was on ground zero in New York City on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters, heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloody, will never be beaten. Those who would destroy me cannot win, for I am the symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am slim to surely bonds of earth, and from my vantage point of the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have a silent witness to all America's finest hours. But my finest hour is when it comes when I'm torn to strips to be used as bandage for my wounded comrades on the field of battle, when I fly half-mast to honor my soldiers, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of a falling son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave.
Flag detail, right face. And salute. Ready, two. Right face. Pose.
Mr. David Casey, Master Chief, United States Navy retired, will now present Master Chief Ramirez with the Chief Petty Officer Retirement Creed.
Congratulations. Well done. Chief Petty Officers, Master President, attend up. Cover. 2. You have, on this day, experienced what comes to all of us who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because our departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and by tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the roll, ever ready to lend their service when a need arises. The respect you earned as the Chief was based on the same attributes you will now carry into retirement. You should have no regrets. You should not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather as orders to a new and more challenging assignment. Remember, you have been and will always been an accepted member of the most exclusive of all fraternities, the United States Chief Petty Officers. The active duty chiefs salute you, and salute. 2. Your retired chiefs welcome you. I wish you the traditional fair winds and following seas. Chiefs, uncover. 2. Seats.
Thank you, Mr. Casey. Pastor Hazel Marquin will now deliver the benediction.
Please stand with me. Dear God, thank you so much for this beautiful ceremony where we had the opportunity to hear so much of the accomplishment that maybe even we as family weren't quite aware of. What a privilege and honor to be part of Quell's community, where we get to not only hear but see the impact that he's had on others, on the lives of so many. We thank you for his life. We thank you for his service. We thank you for the wisdom that you granted to him. Thank you for the mentorship that he's done so profusely, that is so needed in our nation. Thank you for that, and for all of this, we ask you in your name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Hazel. Everyone may be seated. We're not close to done. You guys are used to the stand up, sit down. At least we're not kneeling today. All right. Typing aside, this order has been passed on naval ships from the 1500s through today. Spanish, French, English, Dutch. Yes, all navies of the world use the boats and sideboys and call to bring aboard or send ashore all ships, companies, officers, visiting officers, dignitaries, and VIPs. The sideboys would haul on the ropes and raise or lower the boarding platform so officers would not have to climb the rat lines, which were hanging over the side and used by the enlisted crew. This honor was extended to visiting officers, dignitaries, and port officials. It was not uncommon for the commanding officer of a ship to order up the jolly boat, a crew of 8 strong backs, sideboys, and a boatswain, to send an old shipmate to his shore retirement, home, never to sail on naval vessels again. All hands on deck was passed, speeches were made about the great victories, battles fought upon the open sea, raging storms weathered, and voyages to distant and strange lands with ports of call others only dreamed about. Okay, last dad joke. As I am running out of time for me to talk, and since we are talking about old times and boats, what's a pirate's favorite letter? It's C. You guys. All right, today our Navy has given most of the pomp and circumstance, the honors, traditions, and ceremonies back to history. Time does not give us the freedom to these things from the past, but we still have to stop all engines, lay about smartly, and drop anchor to pay homage to one of our shipmates going ashore. I really didn't think this was going to choke me up. To honor the years served, the guidance, the leadership, the friendship, and the expertise that this shipmate has freely given for the last 25 years. Senior Chief Brandon Wobry will deliver the watch.
For 25 years, this sailor stood watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this information systems technician stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this master chief stood the watch. Yes, even before some of you were born into this world, he stood the watch. In those years where the storm clouds of war could be seen brewing on the horizon of history, he still stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore, see his family standing there, needing his help, needing his guidance, needing that hand to hold during the hard times. But he still stood the watch. OL stood the watch for 25 years so that we, our family, and fellow countrymen could sleep soundly and safely each and every night, knowing that a sailor stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those who have trained, guided, and led. Chief Petty Officer, attention! Cover! 2. Shipmate, the watch stands relieved. We have the watch. Folks, stand by to clap the side. We got a shipmate going ashore.
All right, Senior Chief. Sideboard. Sidestep. Post.
In honor of Master Chief Ramirez, the sneakerhead, we all put some on. Ladies and gentlemen, Master Chief Ramirez will now report to Captain Reyes and request permission to go ashore for the last time. Military guests, please stand, cover, and man the rails to send our shipmate ashore.
Chief.
All right, Chiefs, man the rails, please. This side.
This side.
All the way up.
We covered this sheet, didn't we? Yeah, you did.
Hurry up.
What, you guys wait for a master to tell you what to do?
Master Chief Joel Ramirez, United States Navy, retired, departing. Navy family, retired, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this whoa, I have another joke. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the retirement ceremony for Master Chief Ramirez. Thanks for attending today's ceremony. Please join me in congratulating Master Chief Ramirez and his family. We'll have light refreshments in the Crystal Room. And if you all laughed at my jokes, I owe you money. My husband will be in the back with Cash App. Have a good night.